If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Lay down. Kelly.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and on YouTube. Joining me in studio as customary on Thursdays, especially now that I'm back from my vacation, Marsha Collier. It's always wonderful to see her smiling face and her lovely, gorgeous red hair. Marsha, it's good to see you tonight. How are you doing?
Great to see you, Mo. I was following your travels, and I know a lot of people on the internet were following your travels. It was great that you shared everything. I, on the other hand, I'm not as wonderful as you. I don't share everything.
I don't either, but I try to, when it's appropriate, bring people in, but it has to make sense, because I'm not that guy who shares everything. I'm not that guy who's going to take a picture of every meal that I have, or, food porn. That's just not who I am. And, but my wife was patient enough to understand that there are things that I had to do for the sake of what I do. But it's just not naturally what I do.
She took one for the crowd.
She did. She said, just keep me out of the pictures. I said, okay.
Well, I have to tell you that while you were gone, and actually the past 6 weeks, I have been a Microsoft person since really 3.1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Microsoft. I've tried Apple computers. It's not for me. And it's great for some people. It depends whether you like one or the other. But I think I'm sold on a different operating system.
A different operating system?
Yep. I tested this laptop by Acer. It's the Acer Chromebook Plus. And Plus is an important word here.
I've had 2 or 3 Chromebooks, so I have a working knowledge of them. And Daniel, why don't we switch over to Kurt's?
Okay.
There we go. Yeah. So you can get a better look at it. We advise you to tune into the YouTube feed so you can see what we're talking about at Mr. Mo Kelly on YouTube.
Okay, this is the home screen. It's beautiful. And during the day, when I first got here and opened it, it was daylight. Now it's nighttime. Before I give you the specs, since we have the camera over here, let me tell you that you never get any stuff crowded around. It always opens up clean. When you open it up, a little pop-up in the center says to you, do you want to go back to what you were doing when you shut it off? Or do you want to start fresh?
You can do that with Google Chrome, the browser.
Right.
You can set that in the settings where you close out, or you can pick up where you left off, or just go to your home page.
But what I think is awesome here is it's the whole page, the whole thing.
The whole desktop.
The whole desktop. Okay, and at the bottom, Kurt, if we can get the camera, it has, let me just open up. There's Chrome, okay? Now, you can see how many different tabs I have open. I have a bajillion tabs open because that's my style. And at the very bottom, it says Desk 1. If I click it again, I can go to a second desk and open another browser. And I can load those all up. I've loaded both of the browsers with over 30 tabs, and the computer hasn't crashed.
Historically, that we were locked up immediately from just the usage of RAM.
And see, now I'm going back and forth from desk 1 to desk 2. And it's your regular Chrome browser. So that in itself is incredible. If I knew we were going to be able to do this, I would have played a video for you from YouTube, but I don't want to screw up your Wi-Fi situation here.
You have, a Chromebook. It runs Chrome OS. It's its own operating system. It does allow you to run variations of Android apps, which I think is very cool as far as synergy with my phone. But I've always had a concern with the total amount of apps which are available versus Microsoft.
Okay, honestly, I don't use the apps. Built in at the bottom of the screen on Kurt's camera, you can see that I have Chrome, I have Gemini, which I don't use. There's gaming, there's Notebook LM, which is one of the Gemini things, gaming, Chrome, a separate one for Google Calendar. And if I want, it's new, there's a G button, and that opens up things that you can open up and look at and the various different apps that come with it. But I've checked it all out, and to be honest with you, doing everything through the browser has made more sense.
The only thing I wish Chromebooks had was a more sophisticated audio editing capability. That's just me. And if I had that, then I'll be good, because you can use it with Google Drive, which is an analog to the Microsoft suite.
Well, let me give you, first of all, this screen that you were looking at, that's unbelievably bright. It's a WUXGA. And I said, what the heck is that? It's ultra wide, ultra, extra cool.
Is that I'm guessing, is that maybe a 17-inch laptop?
It's a 16-inch. It has a resolution of 1920 by 1200 pixels. So the WUXGA stands for Wide Ultra Extended Graphics Array. And it's 1900 by 1200 instead of 1920, 1200, instead of the 1920 by 1080, which most laptops are. So you have a little more vertical to your screen, which I like the extra space. I like a little more space towards the top. So it's a 16:10 ratio. Unbelievable. Some of the things that I really love about it, it's got 8 gigabytes of memory.
Oh, the RAM?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. 8. A Core 7 Intel processor.
So it's fast as can be.
Okay, and I have to pull out my own chart because this has more ports than any other computer I've ever had, honestly. There's a 2 microphones, a camera with a shutter so you can turn it on and off, which I really like. You don't have to put a Band-Aid up there for your webcam. 16-inch display. On the side, you have 2 USB Type-C ports, and then a USB Type-A port. How much stuff do you have to use an adapter to C? To fit into a C. This makes it so that you can still use the
same
USB
old cords.
And it's 3.2 generation. Acer has done an amazing job with this. Sounds plastically to me, but it's mil spec. If you I haven't dropped it to test it because I'd like to keep it around for a while. On this side, you have another 3.2 Type A USB port. Oh, and there's also a headset jack on this side. So if you want to wear wired headsets, you can.
I do. I don't do buds, but yeah.
I don't do buds. You get a numeric keypad.
That's almost never.
How cool is that? The touchpad, of course, which is a special glass that is recyclable, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of great for the environment thing in this. I know they'd love for me to say all the different things, but it's Energy Star. It's so much recyclable that it's crazy.
Oh, very quickly before we go to break, price point.
MSRP?
Yes.
$3.99.
That's nothing.
HDMI
in the world of
port. Oh, yeah, we can talk a little more when we get back.
Let's do that. It's Later with Mo Kelly. Marsha Collier joins us in studio on this Tech Thursday. We're talking about Acer Chromebook Plus 516, $399, all the bells, all the whistles, none of the financial.
And it's so fast, it's crazy.
More.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
For just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, and the iHeartRadio app. And if you are tuned into us right now on YouTube, good for you, because you've already been seeing this wonderful presentation from Marsha Collier, who joins us in studio. If you haven't been tuning in, I suggest you tune in right now. So go to youtube.com or the YouTube app and look up Mr. Mo Kelly, MrMokelly. Marsha Collier, last segment, you were giving us a very thorough demonstration of the new Acer Chromebook Plus 516, MSRP, manufacturer suggested
$3.99,
which is nothing in the world of computers.
And just so you know, the word plus after Chromebook, that means it's got an advanced set of hardware in it. As I said, Intel Core 7 processor. What was the memory? 8 gigs of RAM. And then let me see, I have 128 gigabytes of flash storage. And when you have 3 USB-A ports, you can buy all the 1 terabyte flash drives you can eat.
Right. You don't need that internal storage.
No, you can store. Oh, I'm going to put my book on there, and I'm going to put my podcast on there. And you can just attach different flash drives. It's absolute. Oh, so the DTS audio. I don't know what DTS stands for, but maybe someone in the comments section will. But
you were saying that it was a high quality sound, stereo sound.
It's got optimized bass, treble response, and micron speaker distortion prevention.
If I could jump in there, because now our laptops, our devices have to have exceptional sound, because we're either listening to music, we're either gaming, we're either watching movies. So that's a part of the complete media experience.
And one of the things I love about this is if I want to dictate an email, all I have to do is press the G, which is the search key, the Google key, and the D, and I just start talking. And it flawlessly.
Speech to text,
flawlessly. Acer has done such a job. And I can't be over the moon enough, because I've felt enslaved by Microsoft operating system for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I think Acer just really did it this time. They've been working. There's a lot of brands who have Chromebooks, but this Chromebook Plus also, people have mentioned, I was reading on Reddit, there's been battery problems in Chromebooks. Well, in a Chromebook Plus, you've got a big battery, but you got a lot of hardware going. But you know what? Somebody made a comment. You can just buy a battery for $35 and replace it yourself. And if you don't want to do that, you've got places like iFixit where it isn't that much more expensive, because these are easy to work on.
It's been a long time since we've been able to replace a battery on any level on any of our devices.
It's absolutely, I'm shocked. It connects to my phone. I have all these little buttons, US keyboard, sound. It's all at a touch of my hand. All of these different apps.
Would you agree that it would be perfect for a student, be it high school or college, where you have the processing power and the affordability, where you could get it and it's not going to set you back like a Mac, which may be $2,000?
I recommend this computer for I'd say 85% of the population. My problem is I know some heavy duty geeks. So they need a special computer. This computer is fast. It's lightning fast when you change pages. It does everything I want. It doesn't get hot like my Dell. My Dell computer starts heating up because I have to have it plugged in when I'm doing my podcast, and all of a sudden it's getting hot, and I'm afraid the whole thing's going to blow up in front of me. I couldn't be happier, and I really just can't recommend it enough. Anything I missed? Yeah, I'm in love with having the numeric pad, international language support, moisture resistant. We don't know what it is, but
yeah. In other words, you might get some raindrops on it, but don't drop it in the bathtub.
Yeah, I think I do. You got a point. And Intel UHD graphics, and it's got an FHD facial exposure camera, 1920 by 1080. Now, I don't know what that means, but I did.
1920 by 1080, the screen resolution?
That's what it'll go to.
Yeah.
That's what it'll go to. But the point is, I look at everything. The fact that the camera has a shutter, and there are those of us who think that, our computers can be watching us.
They are.
And not this one. This one has a shutter over the camera.
I usually will tape something over it, cover it somehow. So, yes.
But I really think it's the future for most people. If you still want to use Microsoft, you can use Microsoft 365. Even though, you have Google Docs and Google Spreadsheet and all that anyway. But if you have to, like I have to with my publisher, I can go and use Microsoft 365. It just isn't installed on the computer. I got to tell you, I have not recommended anything as highly as this in ages.
That's high praise.
Really, I'm so impressed. I'm looking forward. Now, there is a gaming one that's even more firepower than this one. But this, $399 MSRP at Best Buy.
I know you have 3,500 phones. Did you have any time to work with it in sync with your phone?
Yes, because I've been doing this for about a month and a half because I didn't want to give you a review until I'd really played with it. Now, it's very similar to Microsoft Windows, but you have to learn some commands like how do you pull up the emoji keyboard? How do you do a screen capture? So I just Google it. I can find out easy enough.
I know when I use my phone in conjunction with my devices, if you don't use Android, like, for example, your text messages, you can have your text messages synchronized to your laptop or desktop and get your messages, and also text people from your Chromebook. Those are the things which I appreciate about Android. I can't speak for Apple or Microsoft, but those are the things I think value added in the experience when you're working in the same ecosystem.
But this is Chrome. It's not Android. The Chrome OS is its own.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's its own animal. You won't know it until you try it. You know the little F1, F2, F3, whatever those keys at the top?
The function keys.
I actually use them. They're my volume keys. They're my.
Yeah.
I don't have that little gidgee. I do actually have that little gidgee in the bottom, but now I've learned to use those keys. So much easier. Screen captured.
I've never heard such a glowing review from you on any product. So the Acer Chromebook Plus 516 makes the grade.
It absolutely does. I'm going to maybe tell them I lost it and I can't send it back.
But you said it out loud, There might be 3 people listening, not including Tony.
Right, exactly. But anyway, yeah, I highly recommend it. It's, and if you buy things at some places, you have a 30-day return policy. So it is a little different. There is a learning curve. It is a little weird in the beginning. But once you get humming with it, it's perfect.
Marsha Collier, it's always great seeing you.
It's good seeing you, Mo. I have something new for you next week, too.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
I, like most people, have been a lifelong fan of Michael Jackson. His music. The person, far more complicated, a story to tell. And that's part of the reason why I want to talk about this. The Michael Jackson biopic is scheduled to be released in April of next year. But there's all sorts of controversy even now. Coleman Domingo, Oscar-nominated actor, who is going to be playing Joe Jackson, the father of Michael Jackson, in this upcoming biopic, was roundly criticized by Paris Jackson, the daughter of Michael Jackson, because Coleman Domingo said that he had received a lot of positive feedback from Paris Jackson and the brother, Prince Jackson, both Michael Jackson's kids. And Paris said, no, I have nothing to do with this project. I don't want to have anything to do with this project. I'm paraphrasing. She made it very clear that she didn't like the story that was going to be told, that she felt it was being dishonest, it was glossing over a lot of very important things and continuing the fantasy of Michael Jackson, not getting to the reality of Michael Jackson. And so she made it very clear that she did not in any way endorse this project and has nothing to do with it. That's the first thing. Secondarily, there's a question of where exactly this story is going to be in the life of Michael Jackson. From what I've read, some reports say that it's going to start when he is a child star as the frontman for the Jackson 5 and then go all the way up to the child sexual assault allegations. In fact, they've also actor Derek Luke has been cast as Johnny Cochran, so they're going to delve into some of that. But from what I read, as far as in between the lines with Paris Jackson, she is not on board with how they're depicting Michael Jackson, the person. And I want to remind people, well, this is a biopic. It's not a documentary. If you want the truth about who someone is, you do better to have a documentary where you get to hear from people like Paris Jackson or former manager or people who knew him growing up. You can get a more complete picture. This is a movie for the purpose of entertainment and continuing the legacy of Michael Jackson. And I guess some people just don't know the difference between a documentary and a biopic and the purpose of them. The person who was playing Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson's nephew, Jafar Jackson. So it can't be too negative. The family is controlling this biopic. Of course, they're not going to tell a story which is too either disrespectful or too negative regarding the legacy and life of Michael Jackson. And if you know that going in, then it's fair to expect certain things are going to be glossed over. One of my favorite biopics of all time is Ray Charles. Ray. That movie I absolutely love. But I was not under any illusions that it was going to portray Ray Charles in a much more favorable light than if you knew the fullness of his life and career. His drug use was talked about, talking about Ray Charles. His drug use was talked about, but not to the extent of the outsized role that it played in Ray Charles's life. So I understand if you are a member of the Jackson family, you may want Michael represented a certain way or not, but it's not a documentary, so you're not going to get all that, what I call the color, texture, hue, to make a more complete representation of the life and career of Michael Jackson. I was fortunate enough I've met every member of the Jackson family with the exception of Michael. For whatever reason, my music career did not ever intersect with Michael Jackson. I did get to see him live once, and that was at Dodger Stadium in 1984 as part of the Victory Tour. And I was like in the 14th row, one of the best moments of my life. We'll never forget it, where you could actually see the facial expressions and you could feel his presence. One of the best concerts ever. But I never had a chance to meet him, so I don't have any firsthand anecdotes about who he was or what he was like. But I know from other people that I've worked with that he was a complicated individual and he was very human and probably has a lot of warts, which would have people not like him as a person if it were ever divulged publicly. And you can take that however you want. There have been a lot of allegations as far as child sexual abuse, some of which ended up in the news, some of which did not ever end up in the news. And it's speculated that there were a number of NDAs which were signed. I don't know if Paris Jackson was alluding to that, but we will never get an unflattering view of Michael. I think that's the best way to say it. You're not going to get an unflattering view of Michael from his own family members who have put this movie together over the course of almost 2 decades at this point. Michael Jackson passed away in 2009, if I'm not mistaken. And here we are in 2025, finally telling his story. It'll be interesting to see if it either helps or hurts his ultimate legacy, given the world that we live in now, given social media now, given that this would be coming out after a Diddy trial, given that this would be coming out after an R. Kelly trial, where you've had violence against women and possibly minors when you were talking about R. Kelly, whether people will receive Michael Jackson in the same way. That remains to be seen. But I do know if you want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, you'll never get it in a biopic. Oh, Mark, let me just ask you, did you ever cover any of Michael Jackson's career?
Not really, and I don't really want to be the turd in the punch bowl here because everybody gets weird when you bring up the shady stuff with kids, and that just stops me in my tracks as a former CPS worker. I just cannot abide that.
No, and nor should you. But if you're going into this biopic expecting there to be a thorough recounting and a fair representation of what Michael Jackson allegedly did or was accused of, and going back to the number of children, usually boys, who were spending the night in the bed with him, that's not going to be in the movie.
No, a biopic, or if Tuala's saying it, a biopic. It's not a documentary. You are right about that. And you did get me starting to think about my favorite biopics. Number one of all time is Tim Burton's Ed Wood. Have you seen this?
Yes, I have.
I think Larry Karaszewski wrote that, and he also wrote the one about Rudy Ray Moore, the Dolomite one.
The one that was on Netflix that Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about any biopic, especially if it happens to be an artist that I was either around or semi-familiar with in my own life. Because like, for example, Aretha Franklin's biopic, it's like, wait a minute, that didn't happen like that. Or those events were happened out of order, or that person didn't exist. I start picking them apart because I have a point of reference. So it's hard for me to appreciate biopics all the time because my own life gets in the way.
Yeah, you got to go into these things reminding yourself, okay, it's a movie.
All right. Right. It's a movie, and I should have movie expectations. Am I entertained? But it's not about accuracy or representation, unfortunately.
No, you need to rewatch Ed Wood. It's a masterpiece.
Yes, sir. I will do that. You know I don't take orders from you. We've already covered this.
I'm not letting it drop.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. We'll have more in just a moment. KFI AM.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.
640 Live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Oh, later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app, and we're live on YouTube. And last segment I was talking about Michael Jackson, his complicated legacy, let me put it that way, and how it should be presented on the big screen when they release his biopic in April of 2026. And I was making the point, it's a biopic, it's not a documentary. Biopics are supposed to be more they're going to direct you as far as how you should feel about Michael, as opposed to a documentary, which is more neutral and you come away with your own opinion of Michael Jackson. But it got me thinking, alongside that, some of my favorite concerts that I've attended. And I said that I only saw Michael once, and that was for the Victory Tour in 1984. It was at Dodger Stadium. And even back then, it was really strange to think about Dodger Stadium as a music venue. I don't know how many actual concerts they've had there before that. They've had plenty since then, but it was a huge deal. And I was about the 14th row. I seem to remember it was very close to the stage. Got to see the Jackson 5, as it were. They were called the Jacksons at that time. And that was the only time that I saw Michael perform, but it's one of my favorite memories of a concert. Tony, I know you love music like I do. Oh. Is there a single concert or artist that you enjoyed more than any other?
Man, I've been to so many shows, but Pantera and White Zombie at the Forum was a hell of a night.
At the Forum, yes.
It was still the Great Western Forum at the time.
Oh, Mark, what about
White Zombie was the opener. Oh, and then in between was just, it was just one of those nights, you know?
That sounds like fun. What were you on that night?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Sure.
The first Ozfest was intense. That's where I got my tooth kicked out in the mosh pit during Slayer.
Okay, that's perfect for an Ozfest. Yes. That's not bad at all.
First Ozfest was amazing.
Not Iron Maiden? Nothing like that?
Oh, Maiden is so good live. Clutch is another band. Oh, that's where I met Aaliyah. Oh, man, that girl. I've been to a lot of shows.
Mark, do you have a favorite?
I think my all-time favorite show was James Brown at the Paramount in Seattle. It was just incredible. In addition to being legitimately good and masterful, it was also hilariously cheesy. And he brought out the worst musician on the planet to like kill time while he was resting during the show, because it was later in his life that he did this. And of course, he had the deal where, you know, the guy comes out with the cape and they go through that whole routine. Like, no, I don't need the cape. No, put the cape on. It was wonderful.
I met James Brown. I never had the chance to see him perform.
It was so good.
I would say alongside the Michael Jackson concert, which was iconic, that particular concert, you could look it up. One of my favorite concerts is seeing Prince, and it was at the Conga Room, and only like 500 people were there.
Wow.
So it was just one of those moments where Prince is like standing right next to me, you know, and the only time I saw him was that one time. So those are my two favorite concerts. I can't count how many people I've seen who are notable, but concerts which have stayed with me, it would be those two.
Oh, yeah. You got to remember, I broke into journalism doing concert reviews, so I saw tons and tons of them, and I never took it for granted. Like, I'm getting paid to do this. I mean, it wasn't a great deal, but I was still getting paid to do that.
I got so spoiled working in the music industry. It's like I refused to pay to go to any concert, and I needed to have backstage passes. I need to be able to hang out in the green room with the artists if need be. And I'm not saying that for boasting, because if you work in the industry, you get free tickets to everything.
Well, I wasn't on that side of it, and I never got to pull the "Don't you know who I am" card on anyone, which I'm sure you did.
No, I did not. I always said, like, "Don't you know who my boss is?"
Oh, okay.
It's different.
That's much different. Yes.
Go ahead, Tony. You were going to say?
I saw No Doubt, too, at the Showcase Theater in Corona. That was an awesome venue.
What year was this, roughly?
Before they broke. It would have been
97-ish?
93.
Oh, you were going real back. Okay.
93. I want to say late 93, 94 at the latest. Yeah. Before they blew up. That venue was so much fun.
I can't even think of the most recent concert I went to was Maxwell at the Hollywood Bowl. That was really good. But outside of that, I haven't been to that many concerts over the past 10, 12 years.
I certainly haven't been to any since COVID started. But since we're on the subject, I saw Tom Jones in Vegas, and that was an experience for a lifetime.
Were any panties thrown on the stage?
Probably. I was a little annoyed that he didn't sing Thunderball, but for a guy his age, he just absolutely wailed.
Could he still move the hips?
Yeah.
I saw him in Santa Ana one time. I think it was Santa Ana. I can't think of anything. But yeah, I saw him there. Took a girl there one time. Oh, it was great.
Another great concert that I enjoyed was Oingo Boingo. I think it was at the Long Beach Arena for New Year's. It was Dead Man's Party.
Interesting.
I was 16 years old. So I think it's maybe 1985. And talk about going full circle. I remember when I was talking to Danny Elfman, I told him about that show, and he remembered that show because he was rattling off things about that show. It was right around the time, when Oingo Boingo was getting big because of Dead Man's Party was a huge album for them.
Well, and they were featured in John Hughes movies and the whole 9 yards.
True.
Back to School too, wasn't he? With Roger Dangerfield, wasn't it?
I can't remember the soundtrack. I barely remember the movie.
Well, I'm kind of jealous of that.
And I interviewed William Shatner twice.
Nice.
I'm always going to be jealous of that. Always.
It's not too late. He's still alive.
True. Well, get him on the show. I got no newspaper now. I got no imprimatur to justify doing an interview.
Great word.
I interviewed Leonard Nimoy tons of times and spent a lot of time with him. And the only good picture that came out of that, my eyes are closed.
There's Photoshop, man.
I'll just stick a pair of those googly eyes on the photo and put it on my fridge.
I have a few photos. I have a photo with Obama where my eye was one eye was halfway closed and Photoshop to clean it up. And, it's the 21st century. Do what you got to do.
I'm not going to alter reality like an AI just to make myself look less foolish. It keeps you humble.
Gosh, it's Leonard Nimoy. Yeah. It's Leonard frickin' Nimoy.
And just working stiff Mark with his eyes closed. I'll dig that photo up and I'll show you someday.
Please do.
It's good for a laugh at my expense. You'll like that.
I'm trying to think Star Trek interviews I've done. Nichelle Nichols at Comic-Con. And it was one of the last interviews she gave to anyone because she was declining, unfortunately.
Was she in a wheelchair then? Because the last time I saw her at a con, she was being pushed around.
She might have been. She had limited mobility. But we were in the main hall, so I couldn't see how she was brought there. We interviewed Adam Nimoy, Leonard's son, on the show. He had come in studio.
And he's married to, Terry Farrell now?
I think so.
From one of the spin-off shows?
Yeah, I think so.
I can never keep all the spin-offs straight. I just dropped the most recent one because it was too terrible.
Which one was that? Is the one with
Strange New Worlds is the new one,
yeah.
And it's just it got awful. I mean, we're kind of going off on a different subject here, but it went from being super promising to unwatchable.
That's too bad.
Yeah,
that's too bad. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating.
If you eat too many ultra-processed foods, you could be starving your gut microbes, and they'll get hangry. That's one of many things I learned after working on a new audio course about the gut microbiome. You can learn how to keep your gut happy by listening to Try This from the Washington Post. I'm Christina Quinn. I host Try This. Dig in with me on practical advice for life's common challenges. Follow Try This right now wherever you're listening. Seriously, try it.